Courage and the boldness that you gain after speaking affirmations over yourself. The more you hear it, the more you believe that it's true.
And welcome to Premier Fitness. I'm Gene Williams, your yoga instructor, and I'm here to tell you about the benefits of yoga.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. You have just tuned in to Where is the Love? I am your host. I am Stephanie Hawkenhall. Joining me is my son, Gene Williams, my co-host.
What it do? What it do?
Hey. I gotta fix my audio already. Hey everybody, thank you for joining us. Oh shoot.
Uh-oh. All right. Looks like she pushed herself out. All right. So, so we have an amazing guest, who is the founder of LearnWithJelly.com. All right. She's back.
I'm sorry. I kicked myself out and I gotta fix this audio real quick.
Man, I was looking down my notes. All of a sudden you was going. I'm like, wait a minute, no, not again, Mama, no, Mama,
And I
no.
still didn't fix it.
Let's-
Y'all, hold
let's just
on.
Let's just
Technical difficulties. That one out. I don't know which one of these to push. Now, can you hear me good?
I hear you very well.
Dang it. I still hear that static. I'll try to fix it in a minute. Okay. Sorry, y'all, technical difficulties. If you are here, you should be watching us on our YouTube channel, Love Misunderstood Institute, or Premier Fitness 0210. It sounds better now. Also, check us out on TV. Yes, I said TV. Check us out on Roku and Amazon Fire. Search, when you go to those channels, search POD TV space LIVE, and you can watch us live at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time every Sunday. And we are.
He faces belong to Tuesday.
Are you on your iPad?
No, I'm on my phone.
Because I hear that static again. I'll try to fix it in a minute. I'm so scared I'm going to kick myself out. No!
So do you hear the static when I talk?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just mute my microphone in between. So yeah, just keep going. I'll mute my microphone.
Okay, well, we want you to be able to talk. Okay, y'all, we had a guest last week. We didn't have a guest. We've had so many guests. Last week we did our show together. We talked about workplace adults and workplace bullying. There's so much more to that. We'll talk about that again because there's a lot to it. We covered a lot, but there's so much more to cover. So we are here. The purpose of our show is to help you understand how to navigate through those bullying experiences. A lot of you had them as children and may have known that's what it was then, but as an adult, you may not have identified it as an adult. It took me many, many years, and I talk to people that still don't know what it is. You want to add something? I think you're froze. No, you're not. You're not. Okay, so y'all, we have a guest today. These technical difficulties mess me up. We have a guest today. Our guest is Jelly Malinga. Come on out, Jelly.
Hey, how you
Hey,
doing?
girl. I meant to ask you, did I pronounce your last name right?
It sounded like you said it right, Malenga. Yes.
Okay. I said Malinga, so Malinga. Okay. We are happy to have you on our show. Thank you for joining us today. We are looking forward to hearing your experiences and you tell us about Jelly. Who is Jelly and what does Jelly do?
Okay. Well, thank you for having me.
You're
Definitely it's an
welcome.
honor to be here. And who am I? So my name is Jelly Malenga, and I am the founder and lead teacher of Learn with Jelly. And Learn with Jelly is basically it is a nonprofit organization that basically the mission of it is to foster the wonders of early learning while strengthening family bonds. It's an on-demand, on-the-go learning enrichment portal for families at home or on the go with children ages 2 to 6.
Oh,
And
nice.
and so who am I? There's a lot impacted in that. Who am I? I am someone that comes from a family of educators, but also someone who experienced bullying young. I came to America from Zambia. I call myself as American. I'm half American, half Zambian. And I came to America the year the movie Coming to America came out. And that was not a good time to come to America to the 4th grade, okay? No, like, because they're like, you're from Zamunda, and people throwing rocks at you, and it was not cool to be African then. Now everybody's like, oh, you half African, yes. No, when you're 8, 9 years old, it was not cool. The teachers were making fun of me, but let me not get into that. But so bottom line is, I am someone who over the years, I've grown, I've healed, and I have experienced bullying in all forms from children and from adults. And so, and now I get to empower children, which in itself has been helping to also heal the little girl in me that wasn't treated and welcomed the way she should have been.
It's awesome that you're turning a wound into something to help heal other people. That's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
I forgot I had my mic on mute as static, so I'm having to now I don't hear it. But I think Jean just said the same thing I was going to say, that we've been talking about trauma. We on this show, and then Gene has a show another TV show where he and another guy do talk about male issues and dealing with male issues. And so they started talking about trauma last week. And so their show is every Saturday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And they're also on Amazon and on Roku.
What did he say? Ladies Club?
I said shameless plug.
Oh, shameless plug. I thought he was calling it Ladies Club. I was like, oh, you're telling the ladies to log in? I just don't like, oh, okay. What's the link? I was like, is that why he on here? With that showcase, the arms, muscles, thirst trap, Ladies Club? Okay. I was like, what's the link? Okay, sorry.
Oh, goodness.
So, Jill,
I love your energy.
would you check your mic? Would everybody check their mics? Because I hear a lot of static.
It's probably on my side.
And I only hear it when we talk. So I don't know what that is. So that's why I keep going back to my settings.
Well, I'll
so if y'all check y'all's too.
I'll check now if you can hear me. So I'll while we're checking Mike, I'll go ahead and say that Zambia is in South Central Africa. We share a waterfall with Zimbabwe. We have the largest waterfall in the world called Victoria Falls. Zambia was also colonized by the British. And so prior to being teased heavily, and my younger brother and I working very hard to lose our accent so people would not just know off the bat that we were not fully American, I had a very thick British accent as a child.
Nice.
And so I'm sure I'm sure that helped the kids tease you even more because you talk different.
Yeah, they would say you talk funny, or and I mean, it's very, you know. Then the teacher would ask a question, and ironically, it was only the African American teachers that were teasing me. It was all of
Right.
my Black teachers, African American teachers, that would tease me, say you talk funny, you know, or I don't know how to pronounce your last name. You're an educator. My name is phonetically pronounced the way it's spelled. You didn't even try. You know, you talk funny,
Right.
you look funny, and I'm like, no, I don't look funny. I look a lot like you. You know, it's like.
Yeah.
But that, yeah, that's what it was all through elementary school and through middle school. I had all the teachers, but all my Black teachers would be making fun of me.
So when Gene was in 6th grade, it was a Black teacher that he had issues with that, you know, you can tell her, Gene.
Well, I mean, it was in essence similar, not exactly the same. Just, you know, I was different. You know, in a room full of Black children, you know, I'm the different one. And the teacher was just like, you know, you make little snide remarks or whatever, and then it just became aggressive. You know, once I took it to administration, um, and you know, he actually literally told one of the kids to beat me up. I was like, first off, wow. Second off, why you send him out like that? I don't want to have to beat my friend up. But anyway, let's go back to somebody.
No, and then they don't realize that what that does is it tells kids, first of all, it points out to children that you're different, because that's not
Right,
something that we're born with. It's something we have to be introduced to. And then it
right,
also tells them, hey, it's okay to make fun of this person because they are different. Something's wrong with them. And as a child,
right,
you might already be having esteem issues or may have already experienced trauma and things. So then that is just like affirming something is
right.
wrong with you.
With me.
You know,
Right,
when I was in 6th grade, I had a teacher who, no, 7th grade, I had a teacher who, instead of saying my name, she would call me Kermit the Frog or Garfield because my eyes are large. You know, and so then when she would do attendance, that's what she would yell out
wow,
instead of my name.
that's crazy.
That's horrible. And what
That is
people don't
crazy.
understand, and Gene then will be covering this on their show, probably this coming Saturday, childhood trauma. And I've had to deal with a lot of childhood trauma in the last few weeks. And addressing those issues, you know, are very hurtful because they lie dormant for so long, you know, you forget about them. And then when they, you know, come, you know, when those triggers come to remind you, you know, about those things that were said about you or ways that you were treated, you know, it's very hurtful. But one thing that we have been encouraging is people to not push it aside, you know, not ignore it. You know, it doesn't just go away, it has to be dealt with. So, you know, as children, you know, when you're experiencing all of these things, you know, being said to you and the mistreatment, it's very hard because you don't know how to get away from those things. And I had a dream this week about running from people, you know, this is how serious my trauma, it has been coming up for me. So I had a dream, and in the dream, I was running away from people that were saying things to me that were hurtful. And I would just get away from them and they would come find me. And so that kept happening. And in the dream, I started crying. Well, you know, sometimes dreams scare you so much you wake up. It wasn't, anyway, I woke up and I was crying. I was crying in the dream and I woke up and my tears were rolling down my eyes. So dealing with those things, we have to deal with it. Because if we don't, then, you know, it could be even worse than that, dealing with the trauma. So it's so important to deal with those things, but it's so hurtful when people are calling you names and talking about you and putting you down and humiliating you and insulting you, you know, the damage. Oh my gosh. So now you've been in the United States for many years as an adult. And I don't know how many. I mean, you're an
Thank you
adult
for
now.
thank you not for asking. I don't want to age myself.
I wouldn't do that. I mean, I would if we wasn't live. Because I almost said, "How long have you been here?" But I was like, "No, that'll tell her age, so I better not go there."
Yeah, we're not
I
going
have to
to tell.
unpack that. I don't understand why women are like, especially black women, are like, I don't want to tell you my age. Like, you know, black don't crack. You can be 100 and look 25. So, you know, be proud.
Yes, that is true. That is true. It's just a reminder, though. You know, we don't want the
I
whole.
got you.
Oh,
I had to mess with y'all, Stephanie and Gene, because they know I pop in here and do this every once in a while. But since y'all are having a comical moment, I was thinking to myself that, and y'all talking about bullying, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about this, Jelly. But it seems like we still have a lot of people that are stereotypical about people from the African nations and all along those lines. Because if you look at the note that I put in there, I said Tarzan was 100 years ago. Okay, it wasn't 100 years ago, but it feels like it was 100 years ago. And you still got some folks that have those stereotypes about folks from the different African nations, even though we know that y'all were the cradle of civilization and all in that space. So I just wondered if, as a child, if you dealt with that also, where folks were making those kind of horrible jokes, both because I know you said you came, and I do remember coming to America, coming to the
I
States.
came from Zambia. They automatically hear the Z and said, "You came from Zamunda?
Ramunda.
Zamunda's real? Do you know
No,
King
it's not a real
Joffrey? You know what I mean? That just the whole, and then that movie is what introduced the whole African booty scratcher. And because they're
Right.
not thinking, I'm like, doesn't that mean you're scratching mine? Not me walking around scratching yours. But it was
There
just
we go.
different things that were introduced during that time. You eat lion's hearts, just all the different things. And now I like the movie. That's the beauty of healing. I see the humor in it now. But being, 9 and coming to America, the year the movie
Right.
Coming to America
Coming
comes
to
out,
America.
all the ignorance, it was not a good
Right.
time. Luckily, now
Right.
we're in a state to where especially African Americans don't really want to connect too much to saying they're American, because then they're thinking about the trauma of slavery, and not really embracing as much the way that those people have. We're online, lights, all this kind of stuff. The way that we have bettered the different
Yep.
countries. And so
Right.
I've had people who tell me I wouldn't even say I was half American. I would just say I'm African. And I'm like, but that negates the glorious things,
Right.
that
We done.
African Americans have contributed to the world, and
Right.
I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge I'm a part of two great, nationalities.
Just really quickly before I turn it back over to
Love that
Gene
mic.
and Stephanie, do you ever get the opposite with, and I don't know if you're a teacher yourself, but I know you're doing teaching education with your courses, but do you ever get a kind of opposite pushback with a lot of people being inspired by like that whole Wakanda movement and all along those lines? So I just wanted your take on that, because a lot of people
Yeah,
are probably
I teach
inspired
in
by
second grade, and I had adults come ask me if Wakanda was real. Um, Now, what I
Wow.
do appreciate that they did with the first Black Panther movie, is they acknowledge tribes and areas that don't typically get highlighted, because so many people only know certain West African tribes, and they don't realize that, we were taken from all over the continent. All over,
Right.
not just West Africa, but it also because people are being taken advantage of by some of these tests, and I won't get into it because I don't want to offend anybody. But they're like, "We'll tell you where you're from." Those aren't real, but I digress. They're always going to tell you you're African, so that's all people want to hear, want to learn about. And I'm like, learn about the whole continent, because we came from all over, and that movie highlighted the beauty of all different tribes, all different things. It even highlighted my tribe from my country. When they're on the river, and they
Yeah.
changed the animal from the top, from the elephant that we do for my tribe to the panther. And so it was that movie was very empowering, and I think helped people see Africa in a new light, even if it was in a virtual made up country. So
Right.
I'm like, yeah, Wakanda forever, we down with
Definitely can relate to that. Like I said, I'm gonna turn it back over to you, but I can relate to what you were saying about that notion of testing, because I have definitely had that's one of my beefs when half of those tests are European based. So if you're testing against that European kind of like sample, then of course you're going to come out as probably European, whether you are or aren't. So that's one of my biases. And as Stephanie knows, I'm part of the other kind of testing too. So even though I work for a educational testing company, I have problems with educational assessment as well, because I think that they can be biased also.
Yeah. Extremely.
Beauty of the
I'm
beast.
gonna let y'all go back, but it's been a pleasure talking to you, and we'll talk some more later on. But definitely let y'all go back to the conversation.
So, Jen, you want to ask her something?
Oh, you know I do.
I think.
All right. So first, I want to know what. You hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what inspired your passion for education?
So everyone, almost all the women in my family have been educators. My mother was the very first. There's actually an article. She was the very first African American to get a degree in special education from UW Oshkosh. And then in the article, it says Negro gets special ed, and it has a picture of her. Negro gets special ed diploma. And so that was also the hard part about being bullied and going to my mother, because as somebody who loves education and believes in the oath that we, subconsciously take as educators, her mindset was, there's no way this is really happening. No teacher is going to treat a child this way. You must be making this up, or you must be doing something that's causing these things, because she believes in teachers. She believes in people wanting to make a difference and empower and inspire children. And I'm like, no, that's you, not them, And so it was very hard for her to do that. But then once she saw that we were working so hard to lose our accent and coming home depressed or crying, and then also with the different ways that she would come home and break up the crowds of kids around us, trying to hit us and push us on the ground and all that type of stuff. Then she realized, like, okay, no, this is not just the kids. And especially when she would address the teacher and they were very nonchalant about it, that's when she realized, like, no, okay, you're doing a disservice and you're giving teachers a bad name, because there are people who wholeheartedly care about the kids. And so for me, I've always admired education, and I've always admired the delight of seeing children learning something or families embracing things, just the enlightenment, and then watching the growth. And as y'all already know, the first 5 years of a child just sets the foundation, for their success. And so that's kind of what ignited the power of early learning. And I've had over 25 plus years working in early learning before I went into the regular school system. And it's just the magic of it all. Like, they believe you can make rain. It's just the magic of believing in the impossible, believing in magic. And I wanted to be a part of that.
That's awesome. You said something that I was surprised to notice that stood out on my birth certificate a few years ago. Because I was looking at my birth certificate to see the time that I was born. And it didn't show the time that I was born, but it did classify me as Negro. And I was like, wow. But I already knew, it was colored, it was Negro, so to see that, it surprised me, because that was something of the past, but yet it was, a past for me, because that was my, that was what I was classified as. So when you said that, my immediate thought went to my birth certificate. And like I said, it didn't have the time on it, but like Jean, and I have a daughter, Jean's the oldest, but their birth certificates have their times on it. And because on that particular birthday, I wanted to really celebrate at the time that I was born. I really wanted to, that day, I said, at this time, I'm going to really focus on the celebration of my birthday, but it wasn't on there. So anyway,
Wow. That's powerful that you do that. And it makes me wonder, I think I'm going to call my mother when after we're done this interview, because she has always been very big on the time that we were born.
Yeah.
Right.
And even like when we were little, like you'd be 2 years old, 3 years old, and she'll bust your door open, and then your presents were already under your bed, and she would always at the time that you were born. So of course you became teenagers, you try to lock your door because you're like, I'm trying to sleep, but I was born at 4:30 a.m. Like, and she's like, it's your birthday. It's your open the door. You know, like, open the door, it's your birthday. This is like, damn. You know, it's 4:30 a.m. And even as an adult, you know, she'll call you and text you. You were just born. Happy birthday. You know, but it's just the significance of her wanting us to recognize it is the time
Yeah.
she entered this world. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to acknowledge this time. So now I'm wondering if that kind of helped to stir that, because she didn't have that luxury of knowing her time. It's not on there.
Yeah. Yeah. We are laughing so hard because all day long, every year for my kids, all day long, it's your birthday. Did you know it's your birthday? I act crazy like that all day. You're 13 years old. Did you know you're 13 years old? And I do that all day. And when I finally stopped, doing it was when they started having kids. But I mean, their kids became teenagers, and I had already been doing that with them, and so I sort of, pulled back on that. When they, got teenage. Well, when my daughter's kids are older, but when they became teenagers, and I was like, okay, because they were like, Granny. All embarrassed. I don't care. I'm celebrating.
It's embarrassing because because we don't know any better. But as we grow older, it creates a core memory, and it also validates. Like, I am still celebrating. You are, you were chosen. I am celebrating when the world became a better place because you entered in at this exact moment.
Yes, that's awesome. Go ahead, Gene.
I was just saying that's beautiful to make sure that you celebrate the person at that time they were born, because, like you said, like the planets were set up a certain way when you came into existence on this plane, and that's like you do numerology and things like that. You have a chart that explains what every placement of every planet while you were born, and it makes it very special, and it just shows how special each of us are, how beautifully unique each of us are. So yeah, that's awesome. It's funny that you said that, because I do that to people too. I call people now, hey, it's your birthday. You were born at this. Hey, third time. Happy birthday. Okay, that's the third time he said it. Okay, I'm sorry. It's still your birthday now. You know that, right?
It is. It's disheartening when people say things like, my birthday doesn't matter, because it does matter, because we're not here by accident. We're not here just by happenstance. You were intended to be here at this time, for this season, for this, this group of people that you're empowering. And so you have purpose. There's a reason that you are here for the now. Right. And so acknowledging like, yes, this is when it was made. The time was set. The stage was set. This is when you were supposed to come in. And so that's why I'm like, no, we need to celebrate your birthday, because, it was written, it was intended.
Yes.
Exactly. And there's a whole story.
Awesome. Hey, Jelly, as an adult, how much experience, not how much, but what types of bullying have you experienced as an adult?
Working in various workplaces, and especially ironically, in schools and in schools that I've worked in, I think there's been things in terms of intimidation. And so because of intimidation, different people will try to bully to make you dim your light, shine a little less, making up things that are not true, saying you did things that you didn't do. Those type of things that I've experienced in the workplace. And I mean, unfortunately, it has been by other races. And a lot of times it's just because you felt inferior, but I didn't even do anything to make you feel inferior. It was just like, well, different things, like I sing, I dance, I do different things. And I never experienced where somebody was saying like, oh, she's trying to show off that she can do these things. No, I'm trying to show little boys and little girls that we all have gifts and talents. And if I can be brave enough to show mine, you can be brave enough to show yours, or to try to learn something new, or do something, learn to play an instrument, do something new. It wasn't because I was trying to showcase that I know how to do something, you know.
Right.
And
And
the,
it's intimidating. It's disheartening because adults shouldn't be tearing down adults, you know.
Right.
I totally
Yeah,
agree. Go ahead, Gene.
I was gonna say we've all had hard lives in one way or another. So yeah, to further help tear somebody down is ridiculous. You know, we should be mature enough to see ourselves in each person that we encounter, and you'll treat people better if you think of it from that standpoint.
So true.
So I actually wanted to ask you, what prompted you to start LearnWithJelly.com?
So what prompted me to start Learn with Jelly? Excuse me, sorry, let me get some water. What prompted me to start Learn with Jelly is I had just been hired as a 2-generational early learning specialist, basically to work for a nonprofit to help parents prepare parents in a public housing area, to help them get their children ready for kindergarten, and also to kind of help any barriers, testing their kids, in home type prepping, basically parenting classes, things of that nature. But COVID came in, and I hadn't met any of my clients yet. And so my supervisor was saying, well, how are you going to reach these parents? And I thought about how I'm on Facebook and I see people on YouTube doing things. So I pitched a proposal saying, hey, if we contact these people by phone and I do early learning programming on our Facebook group, will you give me permission to do that? And so that's how I started teaching via Facebook. And then we had 110 families enrolled in that Facebook group. And they logged on and they were answering in the, you know, while I'm live, they're putting comments in the chat, and we're learning and we're doing the things. And a good friend of mine was like, okay, but why don't you do this? And it was like just like a light bulb, like, oh, like not just these children, and which is a blessing, but how many more families can I reach virtually because we're in a virtual world?
Right.
And so then that's when I started the initiative. And 2 years ago, I launched. Learn with Jelly is 2 years old, but it's been growing. We've served over 40 families thus far, nationwide. I have a family in London. We had a family in Jamaica. We've had families in 7 different states, and so it has been a great way to reach as many children as I can. And the beauty of it is, it's pre-recorded and on demand. So if you're in a different time zone, you don't have to miss out on the experience. Right. You can log on when's best for you. The only funny part, recently I met a child who I was at an event, and it's a little girl local, but I never met her. And she came running up and she said, "You're on my TV. You're on my TV." And I was like, "I am," you know. So her mom was like, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. We're so excited to see you." You know, I stream her lessons to your TV because they log on a dashboard. And the little girl said, "Why don't you ever say my name?" And I was like, I say friend. She said, "But my name's not friend." And I yell at the screen because I'm always like, "Hi, friend." And she's like, and I say my name. Say Nova Lee. And you never say my name.
Aww.
And I felt so bad. And I couldn't say, "Well, little girl, it's pre-recorded." You know, and so I did. I asked her mom, I'm like, "Is it okay if I send you a video?" So I did I used one of my puppets, and we sent her a video saying her name, a good 2-minute video where just like, "So Nova Lee," you know, just saying her name. Right. Because I mean, that's the other part that kind of makes it hard to be pre-recorded.
Yeah.
The importance of acknowledging them. I see you as an individual. Right. Yes, she's right. Her name is not friend. She has a name, you know? So that was kind of funny though, because she was like, "You never say my name." And
There's
So
a
how did,
lot in a name. Names
yeah,
mean something.
oh yeah.
Um,
So how did she react when she got the video of you actually saying her name? How did she
Her mom
react to
texted me and she said she loved it. She said 'cause she was telling all the family members, Miss Jelly came off my TV. She was in real life. And that was just so
that?
funny to me because I didn't know, I had never met the child. That I knew
Right.
the name because they paid and enrolled, but I had never met the child because we don't. And she wasn't one. I do once a month, in the month, Zoom learning where they get to learn with me live. And just because of life and stuff, they had never got a chance to log on live, so I'd never
Yeah.
seen her. Because when they come on
Right.
live, I tell the parents put the name in the chat. We do story time. If they come on story time, put the name in the chat. If the name is on the chat, I will shout out the name. Other than that,
Right.
you are friend.
Right. At least it's friend and not something negative, you know.
so Jelly, I want to ask you, out of all the different types of bullying, I know, we've talked about you being bullied as a child and then your bullying experiences as an adult. When you saw the list of the different types of bullies, what were your thoughts?
It was disheartening. But then it was also awakening. It was an awakening moment because it was also a nice reminder that bullying feels different to everyone. So even if you don't think you're bullying, you might be bullying or watering a seed of bullying that was planted by somebody else.
Right.
That's good. And very true. I was surprised when I first learned because like I said, for many years, I didn't understand that was even my experience as an adult. And then to see all of these, I'm like, oh, wow. So was there a specific type of bullying that stood out to you with all the experiences that you had, or just looking at the list, was there a specific one or two that stood out to you?
Not that I can name off just off the top of my head right now. But I just know that there was quite a few listed. And I mean, the ones that stood out to me, I guess, was also maybe because the ones I could identify with was, just as a child, because I feel like that sets the foundation. And then it's almost like when life happens, different things in life can affirm those things that add to the trauma.
Yeah.
As you grow older.
So one other question about the bullying: did any certain experiences re-trigger while you were reading the list? Did you recall certain experiences when you were looking at the list?
Some things come to mind, but not in a triggering, I'm grateful for grace. I'm grateful for healing. I'm grateful for being surrounded by a group of friends and family that walk in love daily, because I believe that we heal daily. And I'm grateful for safe places where I can share some of my traumatic experiences so that it doesn't have to be hidden as a form of shame or feeling like, I did something. And so it wasn't triggering, but certain memories, certain different things did kind of come to mind, or were able to identify like, I know what that looks like, or, things of that nature.
Yeah. So you wrote a book.
I did. I wrote a book. My book is called Sea Pals. No, but I wrote a book, and it is available on my website, Learn with Jelly. So Sea Pals is a phenomenon awareness book, and it is a book about Joey the jellyfish who makes friends while diving and exploring the ocean, friends that are different from him. And throughout the book, we are they're looking at adventures and also sounding out words and letter sounds. And so what I'm hoping is that the book will and then also throughout the book, there's questions, because that's also part of the family bonding that I'm trying to encourage. Like, well, the very first thing is like asking how many colors do you see? So it's asking the person who can read, and hopefully encouraging parents to read it with the child. How many colors can you see? Different parts. It'll ask, what sound do you hear at the beginning of this word? What sound do you hear at the end of that word? How does this animal swim? Can you show me? Just different questions that will hopefully help to have the conversation. Because I think sometimes we forget, yes, it's important for children to read, but comprehension is a large part of that as well. And a way to help with the bonding, have a conversation. What did you read? How did that make you feel? What do you think? And then also to encourage them to be creative, like, oh, well, what other animal do you think should be in here? What other fish? What colors do you wish she would have put in here? And just to help to keep the conversation going so that you can help them think creatively. And it also helps with their self-esteem. It also helps them feel seen, because you're asking them those questions and you're talking and opening up the doors of communication. I know even with the thing of bullying, it's very important, number one, for parents to listen, but also number two, if you don't already have regular conversations with your child, how do they know they can come to you and have the conversation if you're not used to conversing? And so that's a large thing about my book, is the family bonding. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm so excited.
You're welcome. I'm writing my well, I've written it. I haven't published it yet. I've had it illustrated and all this, my first child's book. And it is about bullying, but it's doing the same thing. It's involving the adult and having that conversation about it. Many adults, we know, you just said it, don't have conversations with their kids. So when it comes to the bullying, kids don't just go to somebody and talk about, I've been bullied or they're treating me bad or whatever. A lot of times, there's shame and there's guilt involved with that. So I don't want to tell anybody, because I don't want anybody to make me feel worse, or I don't want to feel ashamed, or I already feel guilty. Like, what did I do to make them do this? So the conversations has to start. I have I did a presentation for toddlers. It starts, as infants, you holding them and teaching them trust and, telling them you love them. And, even though they can't say it back, those things have to be, because they have to, be able to trust you. And so if they can trust you and you've shown them love and you've told them that you love them, you created a bond of trust. And so that opens the doors and the lines of communication for the kid to come to you and say, hey, this kid is treating me bad. They hit me. They did whatever they did to me. So my children's book is to have conversations, with the kids. So it's a game. But the game is teaching them, how the one that is left out feels, and how it feels to be, creating teams, but you being the last person being chosen, and how that feels and things like that. So I'm glad that you wrote that book like that, because it's important to kids, especially in the beginning, to have, the reading with the parents, and not just the reading, but to have conversations, discussions about what transpired in the story. So I'm glad you did that. And I'm excited about getting mine done. It was supposed to be done by the end of January, but I kind of put it back. I'm doing it. I want it to be a digital book.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that I can do it like, how you, because I don't even remember what it's called anymore, but, like on the big screen or on the computer, having it that way, and just having the pictures and then having the conversation without the words, because, look at the pictures and listen to what I'm saying, and let's have this conversation. So anyway, that's something different. I haven't seen that done, but that's my desire for that.
It's kind of like old school, how they used to show the stuff on the projector. And I know, like, reading A to Z kind of has it where they have some picture books, and then you can do the digital part, and you can print it and look at things of that nature. And so being an ebook would be great, because then they can pull it up on their phone at any time and show the kids. And so it definitely is needed. And definitely let me know when it's ready and everything. And one thing with CPALS is at the back of the book, to enhance after you answer the questions, I have free activity pages. a free coloring book about sea animals that children that you then can hopefully print as a
Nice.
little QR code print and then do the coloring sheets with your children as well, so it expands. It doesn't stop with just the book. It's like it expands. Hopefully, and then there's math activities as well as reading, and so tracing words. So hopefully, they'll keep the conversation and the bonding going.
That's nice.
That's awesome.
I like that. Jean, you want to ask her something?
Oh yeah. So tell us about winning the Black Business Boom Summer 2023 Entrepreneurial Pitch Competition. It's a lot of words. Like, oh my God.
So I had an opportunity to pitch, and it was about 67 of us. 67 people submitted a pitch, and 10 people got to win $1,000 based on your pitch being. It's part of the Black Business Boom marketing class, and so they held a pitch competition, because it's just like, okay, you say you have a business, but help us understand the heart, the pain point. What is the purpose of it? Because I think that's something that sometimes people forget about when we're in business, when we have endeavors, things that we do, is what is the purpose? Why are you doing this? It should help to stir you up and keep you going, kind of like with this show. You understand the pain, purpose, and why are you doing it, and it'll help you be motivated. So that was what their thing was. So you had 2 minutes, and it's like, click this video, do your pitch. So you didn't get to be like, look at the, here's this and this is beautiful. No, it was click, video, talk, and the timer goes. When that 2 minutes was over, it was like, and done.
Wow.
And then they had a panel of judges. And so I'm very grateful I got to be one of the 10 that was selected to get that $1,000. And it did come in handy because it helped me sponsor a child for a number of classes.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. You have something else you want to ask her, Jean?
I thought you were saying something. Were
Can you hear me?
Question?
No.
Yeah,
I was asking you if you wanted to ask her something else.
Yeah. Okay. So my last is kind of a question, but it's also a compliment and a question. So how does it feel to know that you are changing the trajectory of every young life you touch with your work?
It feels life affirming, and it feels like I am like letting the little girl within me dance a little bit, smile a little bit, redeem the time. It feels like it's redeeming the time, because I believe that the child within us still lives. That person that was in there hurt is still either in there screaming or is in there finally dancing.
Right. I love that answer. Great answer.
That's awesome, because the child in us, that has been held in bondage, of our own thoughts and the thoughts of others, with those limiting beliefs and those mindsets that we have created, within ourselves and from, the voices of others. Doesn't it feel great to dance?
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't it feel great to feel loved? Doesn't it feel great to be able to understand how to love yourself when you didn't understand that before? I can be happy. I can be this, or I am happy. I am amazing. Go ahead, Jean.
No, I just said I deserve to be. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be acknowledged. I deserve to be loved.
Yep. It feels so good to be able to say those things when like for me, I really wanted to feel those things as a kid. I really wanted to be able to say those things, to myself, but I didn't. And now I understand in the past few months, I understand the power behind the affirmations. You know, it gives me so much power. And I wish I had known that all those years when I was crying out for help, you know, within myself. But I'm there. You know, I'm not saying that I've totally arrived or that I've totally healed. I'm still constantly healing. As we live every day, we are constantly healing, or we should be, you know, because we've lived for, even if it's 20 years, within that 20 years, so much has happened and so much that we need to release and let go of,
Yes.
you know, forgiving ourselves and forgiving others, you know, for things they've said to us or about us, or, you know, that we've said and believed about ourselves. So it's just so powerful to be in this space, you know, to feel this way and to laugh. You know, I used to want to laugh a lot and have fun, and I was just so hurt. You know, I couldn't, I didn't know how. And my, you know, my brothers tease me all the time, you know, because they are both clowns and they say a lot of funny stuff just to make me laugh. And you know, so I'm laughing and they say, you know, they can always count on me to laugh. I don't have to have a drink. I don't have to have something extra. This is my natural high, you know, laughing. So, but when I think about how I used to want that and didn't know how to achieve it, didn't know how to get it, you know, all I knew how to do was hurt and hide and run, you know, from those people. So, Jelly, what else can you tell us? Jean, you want to ask her a question before I ask her another question?
I just wanted to kind of piggyback on what both of you said. Actually, healing is a everyday process, a conscious effort to unpack the pain that we experience in life. It's an everyday thing, you know, and it's not easy. Sometimes some days is rougher than others, but it's a beautiful process to unpack, you know, past trauma and then grow from it. Especially in the arenas that we are in, like we all get to help others heal as we heal ourselves. So it's just a beautiful thing. I just wanted to kind of piggyback on that.
I'm glad that you shared that because, you know, while we're constantly healing, we can always give, you know, we have stuff to give to other people to help them heal and to help them, you know, be able to open up and release, you know, whatever hurt or pain that they're experiencing as well. So, Jelly, when it comes to the kids and the teaching, I saw that you have other teachers, you know, as well. But when it comes to the kids, what is the age ranges that you teach?
Through my program? My
Yeah.
program is for families 2 to 6. However, we do have siblings and older children that, because they're there, you know, participate, do things. A friend of mine was reading my book to a younger child, a 2-year-old, and the 10-year-old on the couch was answering the questions, you know. And so it's just and so it's intended to be a family thing.
That's good. And you teach on the side as well. You're a teacher in the classroom.
Right now, I'm an associate teacher in the 2nd grade classroom. Yes.
Oh, that's a big age gap. How does that work for you?
It's not. There's 7 and 8 in 2nd grade. And
I thought you said 6th grade. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm with you now. 6 and 7 years old. Okay.
Well, but I've been working with youth, especially during summer camps and different places. I've worked with youth ages 0 to 20 to 19 for many years. So
is 6 and 7 years old your favorite group to work with, or the group that you work with best?
I would like to believe I can work with all groups well. My favorite are 3 and 4, because those are the age that they still believe they can fly.
Yeah.
You know, if I just run off this table fast enough and get my speed up. And I
Right. Flap my arms.
they still believe they can fly, and that you want to hold on to that as long as you can.
Yeah.
Gene, what were you gonna ask her?
Yeah. So I also saw that you teach a cooking class on your site.
Yes. So
Cooking?
I do. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was done.
So that was also part of the community job that I had in part of my 2-generational coaching and teaching early learning specialist. So that was part of that was helping the parents do healthy cooking and healthy things. And so we used to do once a month cooking classes using American Heart Association recipes. And that's when I learned that a lot of parents are not comfortable with their children in the kitchen. And I mean, cooking is science, cooking is math, cooking is reading. And a large part of helping to bring down the amount of burns and just helping a child feel comfortable in the kitchen and understand safety so they won't just be like, well, what does this do? And then also the parents feeling comfortable to also increase more bonding is having cooking classes. And then you'll see, like, you can tell when a parent's like, I'm like, let them do it. We count it out. And so during the summertime, I teach live. And then sometimes what I was doing at least once a month, and I'm actually in the process of making out a new menu because I've had several families who have been reaching out. Recently, I taught a Mommy and Me cooking class for the Jack and Jill of one of the Jack and Jill chapters for Arizona. Jack and Jill of America, one of their chapters in Arizona for Black History, they wanted to do something African. So they hired me to do a virtual meat pie class for them. And so we made meat pies. And it was awesome because it was so fun to let the parents, like, let them do it, show them, because it also helps like build up their confidence. Because if they're in the kitchen with you and they're moving in fear, how great is this product going to be? Because they're operating out of fear. Like, it's okay. Let them, you're here to catch them. Let them try. And so right now it's on demand. In the summer, I'll be back live. And then I'm also going to be offering some live ways for them to cook live class. I'm going to go back offering some live virtual classes. And I'm hoping some in-person. I'm trying to find a location to start hosting some in-person cooking classes because I've got the materials. I've got the stove tops ready to go. I just need a building.
You'll get there. Awesome. I need to go grab my charger. Let's keep talking.
Okay. It's we're at the end of the show. So Jelly, we're at the end of the show. We want to say thank you. I had a question to ask you, but it escaped me.
Okay, I'm like sitting here nervous. Like, what's going on?
Go ahead and go a little bit over. I don't care about going a little bit over and everything. I did have a quick question that I had thrown in there, and I just wanted to hear Jelly's thoughts and everything if she's got quick answers. But I'm always fascinated, even on some of my shows, about that work-life balance, and I was wondering how you manage that. And also, I am admire a lot of societies that are very much into cross-generational living and cross-generational support. And I know a lot of the African nations and even some of the Latin nations are very good at that, but sometimes we in America are not as good in that and everything. But I was just wondering your thoughts around that, because I know that sometimes y'all will have 3 or 4 generations that are still living together and still supporting each other, whereas in a lot of the Western states, that doesn't happen as often as it should. So I just wondering your take on that.
I mean, I think times are changing where you do see more fully African American people doing than other cultures doing that. And it just comes from the bonding and the mindset. I do believe that because of slavery and different things, because we were taught to be separated and taught to be by yourself, and the way they pulled us apart, but that was also to weaken. And so I feel like people are coming back to understanding the village and embracing the village concept, to understanding the Ubuntu, you know what I'm saying, that we are one, we do this together. I feel like, because I see a lot of that happening. And then how do I balance of work, my work-life balance. Well, you have to have, I mean, that's the whole thing of being organized, making a plan of what you really want to do. I need to make sure I have as much recreation and rest, because I don't want to pour out of an empty cup, because I feel like sometimes even when we're bullying or saying unkind words, we're pouring out of an empty cup. And because we're empty inside, we are hurting other people. And so if nothing else, I make sure that I am, number one, surrounded by people who I know are filling my bucket, surrounded by people. I make sure that I am, I do believe in the creator. I am a Christian. I do believe in spending time with my Father, Heavenly Father. My natural father is no longer with us. I like relating with friends and family, people that I feel safe with, sharing. If I don't feel okay or I'm not okay, being able to feel brave enough to say, I'm not okay. Like this week was a rough week. And I was with some friends last night and I was just like, I'm not okay. I'm not okay, to be able to say, I'm not okay. And it's okay not to be okay, and to be surrounding myself with people who I can safely say, I'm not okay right now. They're like, but you need to cry. Somebody was like, you want to go get that 25-pound weighted blanket? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
So that's how I do it now. And I definitely want to do that now, because I still believe at some point, I'll have a partner or something. You can't bring somebody else into your space when you're out in disarray.
Yep.
You have to have a balance, because you have to have a time so that you can enjoy other people. And it's the same thing that Stephanie said. It's now she's, you're healed and you're learning to laugh and you're loving yourself. And I mean, if you don't love and embrace yourself, how are you going to love somebody else? Or how is somebody else going to even love the real you?
Yes. That's awesome. So I know what I was going to ask. I was going to ask about, and this is the last question for me, unless Jean has something else. But with the kids that you work with, do you see in those age ranges, do you see, well, it's a two-part question. Do you see much bullying in those age ranges? And if so, how do you respond to it? So that's the whole question.
I mean, in my school, I mean, there are things that are set up by the organization that I work for that, you have to respond in a certain way. There are people in place.
In the school.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There are people in place that, like, there are guidelines to how they want teachers to handle it.
Okay.
Because they have people in place, culture teams and things in place that are do mediation and all that sort of thing. So,
good.
You do see it. A lot of times kids will say, I'm not bullying, because they don't understand the action, the things they're doing. So then we've started, trying to help them understand, is what you're saying hurting or helping, or is what you're saying filling their bucket, or you think it's taking out of their bucket?
Yeah.
To bring it down to where the layman terms where they can understand.
That's good.
And so I think because we're human, and sometimes until you learn better, our first instinct is to just take care of me and how I feel is what's important right now. They're naturally going to do things when they get frustrated, because all they know is what's important to me right now, and are not really mindful of might be hurting that person,
Yeah. That's good. I like that. And it's great to hear that there are people in place, mediators, in place to help with those things, because ignoring those things are not helpful. And sometimes I've learned that some people just don't fully understand what it is. When it comes to bullying, they don't fully understand what that looks like. And so they don't know how to help. I've heard that a lot. So that's great to hear. So Jean, you want to ask her any last questions? And then I want us to, say whatever last words we want to say, so we can go ahead and end the show.
Yeah, actually, I don't have a question. I just want to commend you on your work.
Oh, thank you.
You what? You're froze. So hopefully he's able to come back. So Isis, do you have any last words you want to share with our audience? There he is. What were you saying, Jean?
All right, so I said I wanted to commend you on the work that you do. and also the passion that you bring to your work. Unfortunately, a lot of people, because of the way society is set up, we don't um, take on our work as if it's a life mission,
Hmm.
and you show up differently when you recognize that your work is part of your life mission.
Yeah.
That's good.
I
Jelly,
appreciate
what you want to go ahead?
I know I appreciate that. Thank you for the work that you all are doing, for having me here and letting me share, and then even for taking the time to research and get to know me. Like y'all, I'm like, oh, they looked, oh, they know what they talking about, you know.
This
I
ain't
mean,
no
and
game, man. We real about ours.
I mean, because and that helps me feel seen. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yes, you're talking about it, but you're living it out loud and helping it understand that a large part in helping those that helping to heal those that have dealt with bullying is to help people feel seen and heard.
Yes.
So, like you all have already said, and I think I said it earlier. Like my mantra literally is, "We heal daily," because you don't know when you're going to be triggered by something, and giving myself grace. Because sometimes you be like, "Dang, that still bothers me. Why that bother me?" No, giving yourself grace to be like, you know what, and that's okay. I'm still healing. We heal daily. Now
Yeah.
we've identified that. Let's deal with it and give yourself grace to, in a healthy way, to deal with that thing and why it hurts, why it bothers you, and how you can work to fix it,
Yes.
And so, yeah,
Absolutely.
we heal daily.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, you
Um,
didn't cut me off.
So, what I have learned is how valuable doing the work to heal is. That is something that I have been really learning in the last few months. And I'll just say this year specifically. I mean, we're already in the third month, but learning how to, do the work, it's important. That's what's going to help us heal. So, um, thank you for being on our show. Thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for saying yes to being on our show. Keep doing the work that you're doing. Keep helping the people that you're helping, including yourself, because you are still helping yourself as well. Um,
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
you're welcome. So, Jean, anything else?
No, I said it all.
Okay.
I think
All
he was
right.
going to
So,
give you the link to the ladies' lounge, or that's not that show that now.
Well, there's people like you that pop in as well during that show, and we don't have the kind of muscles that you are looking for and
Oh
everything.
goodness.
So, but Gene's got them and everything. So there's two people like me and Coach Gary that don't quite have that kind of muscles that you might be looking for. So intellectual folks, because Gene is also a master intellect as well.
oh, shoot. All right. Yeah, well, thanks again, Jelly, for being on our show. Mark is going to play the
But you know,
outro.
the other thing Gene's
And
known
if you're
for,
able
and
to,
Gene, I think that
what'd you say, Mark?
that's what I was
I
going to
didn't
add, is
hear
that Gene is
what.
also a masterful performer. So I think Jelly will get to see how he is also a great performer when we close out this show, and another great show. Y'all having a great conversation. But Gene is an intellect. He's got all those muscles. So he is truly the ladies' man and all of that. So all in that space. So I'm going to let folks check out this amazing performer and all in that space. Yes, I'm giving you a hard time, Gene.
Mark, you a mess. All right, so we're
This is
going to
not
the
that show,
outro.
guys.
And so Gene and his band, does our outro. They do the intro. That singing that you hear is them. So the outro, you want to say it, Gene? I don't know
Yeah,
what. I hear
my
some
sound went out
noise.
for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know what the noise is. We're just going to go to the outro. The name of it is Stand Up. And so if you'll just stay with us, Jelly, after the outro is done, we'll go back in the room backstage and chat a little bit. Thanks everybody for joining the show. Join us next Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here, wherever you're watching us from. Take care. We send you peace. We send you love and joy. Take care. Bye for now.
Bye.
The police took another life. Gunshots rang out, even though he had his hands held high. Yo, I'm sick and tired to walk my brother's short lines. Need to come together, set a plan, and then mobilize. Oh, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do about all the hell that we're going through? Now stand up, shout out into the walls of Babel on the feet. Stand up, come on y'all, and let's make some history. Stand up, rise up and know you ain't gotta follow, you can lead. Stand up y'all, we can do this, you and me. Monsanto monopolized the whole grocery line. So we all gon' have 12 toes, 3 thumbs, 3 eyes. If we keep being sheep, these wolves are gon' rob us blind. Let's occupy our mind space, cause the revolution won't be televised. Oh, what are we gon' do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do about all the hell that we're going through? Now stand up, shout out into the walls of Babel on the feet. Stand up, y'all, we can do this, you and me. Stand up, rise up and know you ain't gotta follow, you can lead. Stand up, y'all, we can do this, you and me. Oh, mercy, mercy me. The government should nurture every. When will all these wars be done? Hopefully before the government gonna have the money. Yeah. Before another mother has one person. Shout out into the walls of Babel on the feet. Stand up, come on y'all, and let's make some history. Stand up, rise up and know you ain't gotta follow, you can lead. Stand up y'all, we can do this, you and me. Stand up, shout out into the walls of Babel on the feet. Stand up, come on y'all, and let's make some history. Stand up, rise up and know you ain't gotta follow, you can lead. Stand up y'all.